Hey, welcome into this edition of the GASOCast, episode 7. We have wrapped up the fall. We are live with the season, and we are ready to talk rankings here. But before we get to that, let's talk about things that are coming up. The GASO Fast break drops Friday. That will be the 2026 rankings. We look forward to putting that out there. Next week will be the 2025 rankings, and we'll also include some variation of the team rankings. You know, and then during the season, we're going to do our high school superlatives, which is fun, where we drop like a team full of emojis and how those players apply. It's really fun to actually write. And then the Recruiting Simplified Patreon. I've moved to a Patreon, so come join the family. I'm doing a lot of college coaches interviews, a weekly newsletter, and then Q&As periodically to help you guys with your recruitment. Showcase and bracket schedules for the state will be dropped today. Blue has so masterfully put together a compilation of every showcase and every tournament in the state, and you can find them there if you're a fan or you need to go out and see who you need to see. And then lastly, A Cup of Hoops, sponsored by Synergy. That's Blue and I's show. We'll be back next week. We're coming at you 2 shows next week, so get ready. Let's talk players here, but before we talk players, let's not talk players here. Let's talk about the state of the 2026 class. The 2026 class was a really fun ranking. We went to 125. It lasted a long time, a lot of battling in the rankings war room. And I just wanted to get your thoughts, maybe the narrative with the 2026 class. What are you seeing? Lyndon, I'm going to pass this first one to you.
Yeah, for me, really with the 2026 group, if you look, we're going to talk about their depth, but there is a wide range of talent, and we have high major guys at about every position that college coaches are recruiting for in this class. I mean, it's not just we've got scorers in this class like we've seen with some classes in the past. It's not just a bigs, it's not just a point guard. We even with a bunch of dudes leaving this class and going to preps nationally. Wow. I mean, just look at the top 10 that we're going to get into later in the show, because these guys are all the real deal. And there is some real, not just the depth of the 125, but that top 25 itself can rival just about any class we've covered in the last 5-10 years.
That's a good word. I'm going to piggyback off that. I feel really strongly about the class's depth. I feel we have, for all levels, a really strong crop, and I feel ready to speak on all of those guys. So it's really fun to not feel a big lull maybe in a section of the rankings. I feel like we had to be engaged for every single ranking to 125 that we had, and then even our best of the rest is phenomenal. Blue, what are your thoughts?
Well, it brings up a lot of dialogue between the 5 of us, and that 5th one, including Tim Littlefield. So it's just like what I've learned is that when we're all in the same room, the 5 of us, and we're discussing, we're going back and forth on players, it opens my eyes and go, oh, I didn't see that, but now I can relate to what's being the messages that are being sent to me from our staff. And then that's where we can mix and match and move kids around. And I think that's the one thing I notice is that in this class, the diversity of just the depth and it's not, just a bunch of players thrown in there, boxes shook, and then you start pulling out. No, this is strong dialogue to get to each point, into Lyndon's point of just, you know what? There's a lot for everybody in this class.
Mike, why don't you round us out?
Yeah, rankings are rankings. I've talked to a lot of people that are like, they don't care about rankings, which is great. Also, there's parents that you like rankings based on how the rankings go. But at the end of the day, whether you like or dislike our rankings, we're still going to war for your players. And what that means is that a lot of these ranking conversations that we actually have recorded, you'll see the way we battle for your kids. And regardless if you like a number behind that ranking, we're about to hit the ground rolling this high school season to go advocate. And that's a 365-day a year job. So at the end of the day, when we look at rankings, we're very excited at the fact that if you're ranked, like that means that we like you and we think that you're a next level prospect. Even kids that aren't ranked are still college prospects. That's how deep Texas is. But when, sometimes, unfortunately, we do get some DMs about people being unhappy with their rankings. But I want everybody to know that GASO, at the end of the day, we're still fighting for you. We're pulling for you. Your ranking isn't indicative of we don't like you that much. No. When we're talking rankings, I don't care if you're a top 40 kid or a top 100 kid or a top 150 kid. There is a place for you to play college basketball, and there's a level of college coach that we're talking about for you. So rankings are rankings. Take them with a grain of salt, but we are grinding on behalf of how we think this class is shaping up. And like you all said, I think it's a very, very good class.
Yeah, good
Well
word.
said.
And rankings are fluid. Just they're always changing. We understand that as well. So we hold them loosely. Let's get into the players. Okay, we're gonna reveal our top 10 of the 2026 class. If you want the beyond 10, you're gonna have to subscribe to the GASO Fast Break, and that will drop this Friday. But Blue, you're tipping us off with number 10. Who is it? Why do
DJ
you like this guy?
Ogumeka from WT White.
Let's hop in, baby.
Yeah,
Not even like a slow pause or
Say it
anything.
again.
Just let's
Say
do
it
it.
again.
At number 10, DJ Ogumeka. You look at him and his size. You can't teach size. You can't teach the length, athleticism, even with the instincts that he plays with out there. And I think that's the most important for someone like him that may not always touch the ball on every single offensive transition or offensive set. What he has learned to do, which what I really like, is that he goes out and he will create his own points by getting on the offensive glass. Defensively, Michael, you and I have seen it. I mean, he can start dominating a game defensively by going from block to block, blocking those shots, getting the rebounds, running the floor. So as we sit here, is he a finished product? No, we're not. And we know that he's not. But the one thing that I'm looking forward to him is that he taking that next step of being the force in the middle with a true big man who can run the floor, make plays. That's really what I liked about it. And I think that there was no, I think it was kind of a consensus that he was going to be in the top 10 between the five of us.
Absolutely. I'll hop in here with number 9, Cameron Lomax, Frisco Heritage. What makes Cam Lomax so special is he just has it. I believe in analytics. I believe in the box scores, but something about this guy is just not quantifiable. He seemingly always finds a way to get it done. At TABC, he was 3-0, beating 3 very, very good teams. And the 2 of the games, they won by 3 points or less, and he was the reason. He had I think it was game-winning free throws in one game, and then had the game-winning assist in an overtime game against St. Michael's. And, he just always finds a way. And something I'm looking for this season is just more winning. This Heritage team is very, very sneaky. And they have 2 game breakers in Cam Lomax and Bryson Howard. And how good are they actually going to be? Is a state run on the table for them? And I just, to kind of back up my beginning statement of he has it, I think it has to be on the table because a guy who just wills his team like he does, just a very special prospect, and he's really easy to root for and talk about.
Here at number 8, it's Billy White from Corpus Christi Veterans Memorial. You talk about any type of state run. This is a team that's been on the brink, and they've been stopped at regionals for 3 years or so, Lyndon. And so maybe this is the year with a polished Billy White as he has taken his game 100% to the basketball court, which means a lot because this was a kid a year ago who threw for over 3,000 yards, who threw for 30 touchdowns as the starting quarterback at Corpus Christi Vets. And you know what? It was the sky was the limit in football, and so it is in basketball. And so you're looking here, his qualities of football taken to the basketball court. He's such a finesse player. He can get to spots with ease. His length. I mean, I don't think any of us have come away from a game without talking about the length and the mobility of once he gets into that lane and the craftiness of how he can finish with body control. That is a key element for the next level. And so, I think that he can be the leader of this team, getting to the next level in the high school season, which is state for them. They're going to be, no matter how you slice it, they're going to be 5A big school, and he's going to have to be the enforcer. I mean, he's going to have to, we expect a lot from him, and sometimes the best player on the court is going to win the game, but he has other pieces alongside of him that are going to help with that. But just as a player and a prospect, man, watch out. He's not done yet.
Number 7, Austin Brown Lufkin. What makes him special, the combination of size and the talent that he has. You know, we do talk about basketball's genetics, and man, Austin Brown has been gifted. He has a strong base. He can shoot the ball. He rebounds, and that recipe just alone right there makes him a very high floor player. And the sky's the limit for what this kid can actually accomplish. For things I'm looking for this season, obviously he can score. I've seen it on every stage imaginable, but I want to see him use his scoring ability to dominate a game and make everybody else on his team better. Austin is, you know, like I said, the sky's the limit for this kid, and then I think the next evolution of his game is kind of dominating in all the phases of the game. But I mean, there's a reason that Austin Brown's number 7, and every team in the country should know that name.
Yeah, and just to hop in there real quick with Austin, I mean, this is a kid who is just a multi-tool. When I think about him, I think about his offensive versatility, because used to he was the guy on the wing who shot the ball and they would run sets for him, you know, and then he became a playmaker, and now he's starting to figure out his offensive rebounding has gotten so much better over the last 2 years, where he can just decide that he's going to throw somebody out of the way, go get an offensive putback, and score that way. That's really what has raised him in my estimation for, you know, this number 7 ranking, was he bumps up 2 spots from the last one.
Lyndon, you're owning number 6. I want to hear it.
Yeah, and 6 right here, Christian Gibson from Katy Maid Creek. I mean, this kid led the 16U EYBL in scoring. Goes without saying that his offensive repertoire rivals anybody in the class. He can score it from 3. He's good off the dribble. He's got the length to explode to the rim and finish above traffic. You know, one of those guys where if you watch him play in an open gym setting, you're just like, oh my God, this guy can score any which way possible. But, you know, his upside rivals anybody in this class. But what I want to see from him this year, I want to see that scoring and that talent translate into success as winning games. You know, Katy Maid Creek has an extremely talented roster with him, Jamal Cretion, Darius Tasby, and Trace Motton on that squad. But I know that Katy district is tougher than a $2 steak. But if they can go on a postseason run, and this very, very talented scorer in Christian Gibson and the guys around him can have a long run, maybe make a regional tournament, that kind of thing, kind of put a stamp on it. Show college coaches that, hey, it's not just stats. I'm a winner, and I can brand myself in that way by leading this team to success.
Is it my turn now? Somehow I got lost.
Awaited.
I got lost in the fold, but I mean, hey, I'm more excited to talk about our number 5 ranked player, Davion Atkins, Oak Cliff Faith family. When you look at this top 10, there's nobody like him. When you're talking about size, athleticism, physicality, I mean, it's a different looking prospect, and his physicality and ability to fit in with good guards has taken another leap. All I hear is great things about him out at Team USA, big time summer. His face-up game's getting better and better. He's just turning into a more complete prospect that kind of knows what his identity is. With that being said, what am I looking forward to this season? I mean, if you play at Faith Family, you're always going to play with good guards. But his ability to be a game wrecker early and often kind of reminds me of that leap that Ron Holland had at Duncanville, where he just was like, if there's a basketball up on that rim, I'm going to go get it. I'm going to set the tone with my physicality, my nastiness. And like I said, with the Team USA thing, I think his leadership qualities, I don't think we're going to leave many games without talking about Davion Atkins. And I'm so excited just to see his quick transition over the summer into I mean, if this guy wants the ball, he's going to go get it. And you can't say that about a lot of prospects in this 2026 class. The sky's the limit. And that Faith family team, man, like I said, you know, Greg Lawson, King Grace come in, but it's going to be Davion Atkins, in my opinion, that's going to set the tone from a nastiness perspective. And I'm so excited to see him have a really, really big junior season.
Yeah, hopping in with number 4, I'm going to go Elijah Williams from San Antonio, TMI. Um, this guy, it's very rare that we just dish out a top 5 ranking to somebody who's been in the state less than 2 months, but we saw him at San Antonio and he passed the eye test. We started doing some digging, looking at some film from the summer, and then he really passed the eye test. I mean, scores it every way he wants it. He can shoot, he can get to his spots in the mid range, but I was really, really impressed with his ability to just make adjustments at the rim, move the ball away from the defender, and finish high off the glass. One of those guys who I think can really, start bucking this trend where it's been a long time since we've had an established, I'm putting established in quotes, prospect just drop into Texas already with that 5-star on their name. So maybe, just maybe, this can be the start of saying, hey, Texas is a place to go if you want to grow. We've got the coverage, we've got the competition, all that stuff. And maybe we start seeing players come to Texas from outside rather than leave the state.
Oh,
Love it.
wow.
Love it. I'm going to hop in here with number 3, Bo Ogden. What makes him special is his toughness, his no-nonsense attitude. He has very few weaknesses. And I genuinely, my favorite thing about him is he could fit into any system, any situation, and thrive. That is so easy to talk to college coaches when you can use that type of currency. What am I looking forward to this season? A championship in TAPS 5A. They lost in the semis last year. I want to see him seal the deal. It's always really fun to see the best player in his specific classification win it all. I think it's a hair splitter. I remember when Trey Johnson won it at Lake Highlands. It was like, this is the best player in the best player in the state winning the state championship. And it's really cool to see when that happens. So, yeah, Bo Ogden, number 3.
Austin Gooseby from Melissa. Interesting enough that, I can go back to a conversation that we've all had, and it started with Mass, that he's like, we hadn't even done the 2027 rankings yet. Nearly a year ago. And basically 2026 is, I'm sorry. And so basically what had happened was he's like, there's no way this guy's not top 10. And as we got into the mix of things, he's like, how is he not top 5? How can he not be? Well, here he is at number 2. And that's because his growth on the basketball court has been steady. It hasn't been this flashy, in your face, here I am. This is a easily top 10 guy from the very beginning that grew into the top 5. And now here he is at number 2 because you know what? He's very steady. He's very strategic when he's out there on the basketball court, it seems like. He doesn't go really fast. Everything seems very controlled. Everything seems very, everything looks to be within the offensive system. He gets to places. If he doesn't have a shot, he just gives it up. But the guy he goes out there and can score, and he can score buckets in bunches. I mean, whether it's a short corner jumper, the 3-pointer, getting inside the lane, going punching it. This guy does everything, and he does everything at a very high level. And so there's a lot of excitement here because when you look at our top 4, you look at our stretch out to our top 5, all the way to the top 10, there's a lot of guys, especially here at the very elite top, that we're going to have conversations about, I think, down the road, who is number 1, just because I think that they go out and compete. This is a very competitive top 5 to 10 group here.
Round us out, Mike.
And for number 1, Dakari Spear of the Colony. Such an interesting prospect. And when we talk about these kids going to their junior year as upperclassmen, we've seen such a growth out of a lot of these prospects. But Dakari, what I think makes him special is that you see the pace, the IQ, the elite footwork, just super skilled prospect. And a lot of the super skilled prospects, they're high for a while. And then naturally they start to get passed. Not for any reason other than, some kids become more explosive, more athletic. But then you see Dakari, who masters every single skill set offensively, does it at a high level, but then he starts to bring the quick twitch, the athleticism, the finishing above the rim, the nastiness, the physicality in big games. His resume right now is starting to be built out, even if you go back to last year when the Colony talented team made a kind of sneaky playoff run with him having
with Lancaster. Toe to toe.
Yep.
Yeah, with him having 30 to beat Longview in a Longview ton of seniors on that, and he said, "I'm going to take this game over." He continues to build that resume to where when we talk about special players in Texas that make deep playoff runs, what I'm looking for out of him is to take that next step. Um, like I said, he's playing above the rim, and what I think as fans, when you see Dakari Spear number one, and the casual fans want to come out and watch, we rave about his IQ, the way he's able to shot make. But there's going to be a lot of fireworks for him because he has this mean streak. He's the baby brother of two killers, respectfully, in the family. So there's a pedigree there, and he's ready to put on a show above the rim, clutch buckets. He's just an absolute dude and a problem. And I am very, very, very pleased when we talk about Texas basketball to have Dakari Spear representing our state as a number one player in our rankings.
Yes, I agree. And I mean, I think if I would hope most people that are watching this know who he is, but if you haven't, go to Baller TV and watch the game against Houston Bel Air that the Colony played at TABC, and you're going to get a picture of Shelton Henderson, who's one of our top players in the 2025 class. I'm not going to tell you where he finished until next week, but just watching them go to toe to toe, you felt the energy and the special nature of those two guys, and he's doing that sophomore to junior year, right? And Shelton's already done all the stuff, right? So it's just really special to have, quite frankly, like Lyndon said at the top of the show, this top 10's really strong. There's a piece of every position, and it's really easy to advocate for for Texas at the top, the middle, the best of the rest. It doesn't matter, but it just shows you our state's in great hands. And that's going to wrap up this edition of the GASOcast. If you want the full rankings, Lyndon is dropping those on Friday, and we'll be back next week with a special team rankings show. And then we're also going to do the top 10 reveal in the 2025 class. So thanks for being with us, and we look forward to bringing you more Texas State coverage because it's coming, and we're going to be all over the place. Thanks for tuning in.